Sunday morning and welcome to Rochester in Focus. I'm Lynette Adams. Coming up on the show today, you could consider this a milestone show. We are talking with the president and CEO of the Urban League of Rochester, Dr. Shawnell Hawkins. She's joining us this morning. It is celebrating 60 years in our community, and the Urban League's Black Scholars Program has been recognizing the best and the brightest high school students for 45 years in this community. Finally, we hope to send you home hungry. Eddie Harris is joining us to talk about Boss Sauce. It's in its 40th year. We'll talk about what's new. Well, the Urban League of Rochester was founded in Rochester during some of the most turbulent years, right in the middle of the racial unrest and riots that changed this city. And for 60 years, the Urban League has been one of the agencies the community has been able to count on to address the needs of the poor and disadvantaged, as well as people of color in this community. Joining me to talk about its rich legacy, the president and CEO, Dr. Shawnell Hawkins, as well as John Paul Perez, the executive director of a partner agency, Community Impact at ESL. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Very nice to have you this morning. So I know that your mission statement talks about parity, it talks about self-reliance, power, and civil rights. What does that look like?
Yeah, first let me just help the community understand that 60 years ago, the Urban League was born out of the civil rights movement right here in Rochester. It was community coming together, wanting to prioritize Black and brown people, making sure we created a pathway for access, parity, and power. So what does that look like today? Today that looks like home ownership. It looks like supports for entrepreneurships, prioritizing education. It looks like workforce development programs, creating a pathway for upward mobility for our community members. We have been doing this work for 60 years, and we can document it with the impact that we've been making. And now we're excited to celebrate.
You know, when you look at the list of programs that you're engaged in, I looked at a couple of things, and I know the Interrupt Racism Summit has been a big one for you, as well as you partnered with the Race Commission to look at structural racism in our community, and the list goes on. I mean, parenting classes, Head Start for children, entrepreneurship workshops, helping people build wealth. This is all a part of what the Urban League has been about for 60 years, right?
This is who we are, prioritizing the needs of the Rochester community. So when there's a need, we answer the call and make sure that there's a pathway for our community to be better. We prioritize equity. And that's what's important about celebrating our 60th anniversary, because we've been doing this. We've been doing this work to better our community, and we bring in partners to help us do this work. We know we have not been doing this work alone, but boy, there's been some incredible partners to help us to do this work so that we can prioritize education. And we're going to celebrate in a big way. In fact, next year, if you don't have a date or plans, on February 14th, we're going to celebrate our gala to commemorate our 60th anniversary. So this is a big year. We're bringing back events. So we have this Road to 60, where we're going to have a series of events, including our Black Scholars Program, which we'll talk about. But also we're bringing back our Distinguished Chef Series, our Interrupt Racism Summit. It's happening on September 18th, and we're bringing Cheryl Brown Henderson. She's the daughter of the named plaintiff of Brown versus Board of Education. Wow. In fact, it was just the anniversary just a few days ago, and we're celebrating that and making sure our community is educated and still prioritizes equity. We know that there's been a lot of pushback on DEI, but it's our role at the Urban League to make sure that we prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion right here in Rochester.
And a big part of that you just mentioned are partners, and that's, John Paul, where you come in. ESL has been a partner for quite some time. Why?
One of the commitments that ESL has made in our mission is really to reinvest in the community. Specifically, since 2018, we've granted about $100 million to our community. The Urban League is such a critical partner in that effort, particularly as we focus on education. When we look at education, one of our key indicators of success is how can we get more and more individuals, particularly in the Black community, to and through college. So not only are we worried about placing individuals in college, but getting them to be persistent and actually stay, graduate with a degree. And we really think that the Urban League is just a perfect example of an organization that does both of those things simultaneously.
Why are partnerships important to ESL as much as they are to the Urban League? They're also important to you. It's about roots in the community?
frankly, we know we can't do it on our own. We rely on partners like the Urban League. They're the ones who are actually doing the real work. We're the ones who are helping provide resources that come from the community, but they're the ones who are doing the real work.
And so one of the things I noticed, Chanel, is that, you know, it's about family, it's about community, it's about government, it's about money, it's about the whole family. That's what the Urban League is all about.
The Urban League is absolutely about the family and the community and making sure our families are healthy, they have what they need to thrive. And so how do we thrive? We know it's through home ownership. We know it's through good jobs, a great career, a community that supports them, also working in the trades. Those are all things that we do, supporting people with disabilities, making sure our parents have the tools they need to create children that are going to do wonderful things in our community. And we're celebrating that with our 45th anniversary of our Salute to Black Scholars program.
I know we're going to talk about that in a moment, but let's give a grade. How are we doing in this community? We talked about a lot of different things. We talked about equity. We talked about parity. We talked about power. How are we doing in this community? How would the Urban League say we're doing?
I would say that the Urban League is hopeful, and I'll tell you why. When we think about where we were in 2020, in fact, we have the RAISE report, the Race and Structural Equity report, that commission, that group came together to talk about what needs to be done to make our community more equitable. We're working on that. In fact, the Urban League was appointed by the county exec and the mayor to lead that work, and we have documentation that we've been making progress. So I'm hopeful. Then we also have the State of Black Rochester. That's coming. That report is coming in around Juneteenth. So that will really highlight the work that needs to be done, the work that still has to happen, but it can't happen without everyone all in. And so I'm hoping that everyone will be all in the work that we have to do to make Rochester more equitable, but we're hopeful. We're hopeful.
Hopeful for the future, hopeful that these partnerships will continue.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we still have a lot more to talk about. The Urban League of Rochester has a big weekend coming up, centering on its Black Scholars program. We'll talk about that when Rochester in Focus returns. Welcome back. Each year, the Urban League of Rochester recognizes the achievements of students across a 9-county area. This year is the 45th anniversary of the Black Scholars Program, and the Urban League will welcome alumni during this year's celebration. The president and CEO, Dr. Chanel Hawkins, is joining us, as well as John Paul Perez, the executive director of a partner agency, Community Impact at ESL. Welcome back. We have been talking about the Urban League's history. One thing I wanted to just touch on quickly before we talk about the Black Scholars, and that's the RAISE Commission. You were a partner in that.
We are. So we're leading, the Urban League is leading the second phase of the work. And so we wanted to make sure that this report did not sit on the shelf. And so there are teams, and we call them CART teams, Community Advancing Recommendation Teams. They are community members that are working on the areas of education, employment, housing, mental health, and addiction. There are many groups. There are about 9 working groups that they're community members leading the effort, and they're advancing those recommendations. There's still opportunity for community members to join a CART team. You can go to the Urban League's website at ulr.org and learn more about the community teams, but they meet monthly and they're advancing the recommendations. We still have opportunities in the area of education. We still want to see movement in not just the Rochester City School Districts, but all of the districts being part of advancing those recommendations. So there's still work to do, and you can join now.
Okay, that's awesome to hear. We didn't want that report to sit on a shelf or a desk and collect dust.
No, we didn't, and we pushed, and even the work of the power brokers to push to see the community advance those recommendations. So I'm grateful to their support.
Awesome. Let's talk about the Black Scholars Program, because
I'm excited.
You've had so many over 45 years. What does it mean to be selected as a Black Scholar?
So to become a Black Scholar, you have to have maintained a B average or better throughout your entire high school career, which is phenomenal. And so we want to celebrate that. And there are 45 years of Black Scholars. So there are thousands of Black Scholars. People like Malik Evans, a Black Scholar. Simeon Bannister, a Black Scholar. Leslie Myers Smalls, a Black Scholar. Robin Wilt, Black Scholars. There are many unsung heroes that are Black Scholars that are doing great things across the country. country. So here's an opportunity for homecoming to celebrate the Black scholars, but also this class of Black scholars. And so what that means is that we're going to make sure that we're prioritizing college and making sure you have the resources, because for many, not having the resources can be a barrier. And so thanks to the partnership with ESL, we don't have to worry about that, and we can help to close those gaps for students that have worked hard and don't have to worry about finances. They're working hard, they're getting scholarships, which is exciting, but if there are small gaps, we're going to help to close them with thanks to the partnership at ESL.
And John Paul, you talked about persistent education. What does that mean exactly?
You know, we're talking a lot about generational problems that I think require generational solutions, right? And so one of the things that I'm most excited about is the Black Scholars Program, because we understand that once an individual actually graduates from college, the likelihood that they have a higher paying job with a higher salary is exponential. The likelihood that their child ends up going to college is also exponential. And so we recognize that the Black Scholars Program has an impact today and now on those individuals in need, but also for generations to come.
Which is awesome, because you are not only helping this generation, but it's something that can travel for generations to come.
Right. Yeah.
So that you're empowering more than just the people today. Now this year you have a big weekend planned. You're inviting alumni to come back. Talk about what's planned for that big weekend.
So we have our Salute to Black Scholars ceremony. That's going to happen on June 3rd at 6 p.m. at RIT. We hope the community comes out. It's open to everyone. This is a way for us to celebrate their accomplishments. And we're going to do a roll call for all of the 45 years of Black scholars. We want to know who they are, and we're going to invite all of the Black scholars to come back for our anniversary on February 14th in 2025, so that we can really celebrate the legacy of Black scholars. And this all began with Bill Johnson. I can't take any credit for him. He brought this back to Rochester, and we're delighted that after 45 years, it's still going. We're still celebrating, we're still prioritizing college, and we're still making impact.
And that's really a big part of it. You're making education attractive. It's like, I want to be a Black scholar,
yes,
right?
Yes, I wish I was a Black scholar. But certainly it's something for younger ones to aspire to. So we want families to come out, bring the younger generation. And in fact, we're celebrating the emerging, the upcoming Black scholars, those that are on the pathway. So we're having our early recognition ceremony the night before at St. John Fisher University, my alma mater, and we're certainly going to celebrate the students that are readying themselves to call themselves Black scholars.
I think we're looking at last year's Black Scholars ceremony.
Yes,
I think that is last
we had
year.
Boys to Men sons come and celebrate with the students, so it was a great opportunity. But this is about tradition and history and students doing their work to prioritize education and make a pathway for a great career, and that's what we want. This is how we create access, by celebrating and honoring the legacy of Black scholars.
And we see the success right in our community, our own mayor and others that you
and
mentioned.
Many others, and for those that are Black scholars that I didn't get, but they're generational.
Yes.
They're grandmothers, aunties, fathers, mothers that are all Black scholars. We want to celebrate that history on June 3rd at RIT at 6 p.m.
And we have information about that. The homecoming celebration of 45 years of Black scholars kicks off that Friday with an early recognition event for future Black scholars. A chef's cook-off on that Saturday, and Monday, June 3rd, as Chanel just mentioned, the Black Scholars Celebration will happen at Gordon Fieldhouse at Rochester Institute of Technology. It's Monday. The doors open at 5 that evening for the event at 6, and it's absolutely free and open to the public. And to learn more about these events, you could just go to urbanleaguerock.org. And Rochester in Focus will be right back. We're going to make you hungry before we end the show today. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us here on Rochester in Focus. Well, if you're like me, Boss Sauce makes the meal, whether it's chicken, a burger, French fries. There's not much that doesn't taste better with Boss Sauce. It's a one-of-a-kind savory sauce created by American Specialty Manufacturing in Rochester. Eddie Harris is the man behind the sauce. It was his mother's recipe, and 40 years ago, he decided others should taste the sauce, so it became a staple in his restaurant, the Chicken Coop. Welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So you thought this was a great sauce. You used it in your restaurant. That's
Yes.
how you introduced it to the public.
Yes.
And I understand that you just blew up
Yes.
after bringing the sauce in. Talk
Correct.
about that.
Well, the sauce tastes so good. That's what it was. People would come in and they'd bring their own jars and pans, and we just fill them up and sell it that way.
They would bring jars in and
Oh,
fill
yeah.
it up?
Oh, yes. Jugs and jars.
Wow. Now, is this a sauce that your mom made and you would stand there and watch her putting the ingredients in? How did you know that this was a winning sauce?
Because it was on our tables at home.
Okay.
Didn't think about, what it was in it and all that kind of stuff like that, but it turned out to be good.
So you have been in business now 40 years.
Yes.
Right here in Rochester. How have you managed for 40 years? I can imagine it has not been easy.
No, it hasn't. But it's a struggle, but I enjoy it every day of it.
Now,
this
when
day.
you say it's been a struggle, talk about what that means.
Well, starting off fresh, you don't have the money to grow and everything like that, so you had to take your time and do a little bit at a time. In-store presentations, demos, and stuff like that, yeah.
And I read that you partnered with Wegmans early on.
Yes.
Now partnering with Tops as well as small mom and pop stores. Do you think that those small mom and pop stores helped, along with these partnerships with Wegmans and Tops, helped to cement your success?
They were the spearhead. They're the ones who took the product in. They're the ones that helped sell the product. And from there, when people go to the supermarkets, they were asking for the product. And so now the stores are calling for it. So that helped a lot. And I still use that in some stores.
And you are in, did I read correctly, 100 Wegmans stores across the nation?
A little more. I think it's 110 or 115. But we're also in Walmart. I'm also on Amazon. So we're getting a hang of how it works and stuff.
So when you started 40 years ago, did you think you'd have the success that you have today? Walmart, on Amazon, Wegmans, just...
Of course not. You just kept plugging at it. As you can see, you see the openings, and so you try to take advantage of them.
So you took a chance
Yes.
that your mom's sauce would be as good to others as it was on your dinner table.
Right. When I had the restaurant, people would come in there and they just talk about it, want more. So I say, hey, we might have something here. So that's what we went on.
Absolutely. I have family members who've moved away from the area. When I visit them, they want me to bring boss sauce.
Right.
They're like, make sure you bring the boss sauce. I think they're more concerned about that than seeing me.
No.
So I know that one of the missions of your company is to empower or to help the neighborhood.
Yes.
Where your business is located. You've been on Hudson Avenue
For about 10
many
years.
years.
About 10 years. Then I was on Portland Avenue. And so I always wanted to be in the city because I wanted to be able to create jobs. And that's my big goal. And so that's what I've been doing now.
And how do you feel about that? I mean, does that give you a sense of gratification knowing that you are not only creating this sauce, but that you're empowering people, you're providing jobs for people?
Yes, that's a good feeling that you'll be able to do that. I'd like to do more, so I'm steady trying.
Now, what does that mean, like to do more? That sounds like some goals, some plans for the future.
I do everything for the churches. I cook for them and trying to create jobs. And the establishment I have now, making it look nice on Hudson Avenue. And I want to stay in the city. And the city's been sort of a partner, help me out, trying to stay in the city. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to be in the city.
Okay.
Create the jobs.
So let's talk about the future. Now, you brought a few of your sauces. These are some of the sauces that you offer.
Yes.
Tell us what's new.
We have boss sauce with blue cheese.
Oh, wow.
That's great. No more double dipping.
Double dipping not allowed, huh?
Yeah. We have the hot, we have the regular boss sauce, thicker, richer, and the new jerk sauce.
Oh,
They're
thicker, richer.
Yes.
What's different about that one?
Well, our original sauce is a little thinner.
Okay.
And so they made a thicker one where it hangs onto the steak sandwiches and stuff. No more dripping down your face.
Okay, all right. And the jerk sauce, is that your newest one?
That's the newest one.
Yeah.
Yes. That's pretty good sauce.
So is that a hot sauce or?
It's
Because
a
jerk
little-
sauce is typically
It's not
spicy. And
It's
hot.
not spicy, but just enough to let you know it's there.
So tell me, what do you see as special about boss sauce? There are tons of sauces out there. You've got a lot of competition, but you've maintained for 40 years. What's the magic?
It's the shelf life, really. It's 2-year shelf life. The nutritional value, that's very important. It's vegan free is all right down the line as the, so it's nutritious.
Yeah.
And we're in the city, let me say, I know we're in the city school district also because of the nutritional value.
Oh.
School lunches and stuff like that.
And you said it's vegan. So
Yes.
this is for anybody, whether you eat meat, don't eat meat.
All the ingredients, it's kosher. So we try to hit the nutritional value, and that's very important. A lot of people ask what's in it.
So quickly, you got to give us a nugget. What's the future? Anything on the horizon for Boss Sauce?
Just coming up with new brands. So when people see the Boss Sauce label, they'll know what's in it is great.
They'll know it's nutritious. They will know that it's healthy.
Yes.
They'll just have to find the rest of the surprise in the jar.
There you go, the taste. Oh, boy, it's there.
All right. Well, fair enough. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us. I love Boss Sauce. It's very popular.
Yes.
You've been around for 40 years. And nice to see that you're doing well and you are rooted in Rochester.
That's right. Thank
Not
you for
going
having
anywhere.
me. Thank you for having me.
All right.
I'll be here.
Rochester in Focus will be right back. Eddie Harris didn't mention it, but he is going national with Boss Sauce. So that's a little nugget we wanted to share with you. A big thank you to all of our guests today. And if you would like to be a guest on Rochester in Focus, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact News 10 NBC at 232-1010 or email us at RIF or riff@whec.com. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, have a great week.